India.
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 Hello everyone, this is Arun from the United India. Before we start this topic, I would like to talk about why we have created this channel, and that is to unite everyone. Together, we can bring the change that we need. So I request you all to get united and be the change for a better India. India, world's largest democracy. It homes more than 18% of world's population, and as per UN estimates, India will take over China's population by 2028, becoming the world's most populous country. Yet, India does not have a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. Why? Today, let's try to dig a little deeper. First of all, I will talk about the United Nations Security Council. The UNSC was established on October 24, 1945. After the end of World War II. The prime responsibility of the UNSC is the maintenance of international peace and security. It has 15 members. Each member has one vote. The 5 permanent members are UK, China, US, Russia, and France. Besides them, other countries like India gets a temporary seat at the UNSC, but so far have not been given a permanent seat despite having all the requisites. An integral part of the United Nations, the UNSC, plays a crucial role in addressing global challenges from conflicts and crises to humanitarian disasters. It's the only UN body that can impose sanctions, authorize military actions, and make decisions binding on all 193 UN member states. One question looms large. Is it time for India to take its place at the table? Well, India, by any objective criteria like population, territorial size, GDP, economic potential, civilization legacy, cultural diversity, or political system, is eminently qualified for a permanent membership. India has been at the forefront of years-long efforts calling for reforms of the Security Council, saying the 15-nation council founded in 1945 is not fit for the purpose in the 21st century and does not reflect contemporary geopolitical realities. Today, India is the world's 5th largest economy. It sends the highest number of UN peacekeepers, and yet at the UN, the age-old rule that only 5 nations may have a seat at the permanent table dictates that India is pushed to a mere participatory role. Moreover, this disparity is further amplified if we consider that India has the world's largest population of youth as well as world's 3rd largest ecosystem for startups. At the time when world is becoming increasingly digital, India makes 46% of the world's real-time transaction in a year, and yet our bid for a permanent seat at the UN is still spoken about in a hushed tones. In the last 9 years, India's role in the global affairs has expanded exponentially, and with that has expanded India's global footprint. Today, in addition to 140 crore Indians at home, we are the world's largest diaspora with over 1.8 crore Indians living in countries around the world. Consider this, when the COVID-19 pandemic eased, over 13 lakh Indians took up the jobs around the world in 2022 alone. In 2021, Indians sent home around $89 billion in remittance. That's equal to what the Filipinos, the French, the Germans have sent home in remittance combined. At the UN, India has been shining throughout.
And talking about superpowers, Ambassador Veena Sikri, do you think that the inclusion of India at the UNSC as a permanent member has perhaps been the longest test of patience for India? The fact that big Western superpowers do not want countries of the global south to be at that table?
Well, I think we have to also recall that this permanent seat at the UN Security Council was on offer for India many decades ago, but it was turned down by our own leadership at that time, who preferred to see that, oh, let China take it kind of thing. So I think we have to recall that once you miss an opportunity, it's decades before the opportunity comes around again. But I think one point is there that the world has definitely recognized now that you cannot have a UN Security Council, the world's highest decision-making body at the multilateral level, without the inclusion of a country like India.
Take, for example, our elections to the UNSC in 2021 and 2022 for a 2-year term with over 95% of the votes pulled into India's favor. Not to mention that this was the 8th time in the UN's 77th years of existence that India was voted into the UNSC. India was also voted into the UN Statistical Commission for a 4-year term with over 86% of the votes pulled into India's favor. In 2022, we added 10 iconic destinations to UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. In 2021, India was elected to the UN Economic Council and the UN Human Rights Council.
In other news, India has been elected to the United Nations top human rights body for a period of 3 years, beginning from January 1 to 2019. India received 188 votes in the Asia-Pacific category, the highest number of votes among all candidates. Along with India, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Fiji and Philippines had also staked a claim in the same regional group.
A year before that, it was the UN Commission of the Status of Women. Let us also remember that 29 crore doses, affordable medicines and life-saving drugs by tons were sent to the nations across the world. India is standing tall as a permanent candidate in the eyes of many leaders. Even the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has rigged up a long pending issue of India not getting a permanent seat at the UNSC.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has spoken at the United Nations Security Council. He's invited multiple countries, including India, to participate in the second International Peace Summit.
And we have to prepare the second Peace Summit to end the war altogether. And I invite all of you, all principled nations, to join us in this process, all who truly respect the UN Charter. I have already invited India.
In his message to the world leaders at the UN General Assembly, Zelensky questioned why India, Japan, Brazil and Ukraine are not permanent members of the UNSC. Linda Thomas-Greenfield, the US ambassador to the United Nations, said, India has the largest population in the world and we really strongly support their being on the council. And I think there are just no grounds for denying India that. I would say India has a strong case to have a permanent seat in the council. To begin with, India has served as a non-permanent member of the UNSC 8 times, the most recent being from 2021 to 2022. India has been deeply involved in the United Nations since its inception. As a founding member, it has contributed significantly to the global governance initiatives like the Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and various UN summits, including climate change. Moreover, post becoming a nuclear weapon state in 1998, India matches the criteria of the existing permanent members, all of whom are nuclear powers. In recent years, India has significantly increased its participation in the UN meetings and initiatives, and also has a rich legacy of contributing to UN peacekeeping operations.
India stands solidly committed to assisting the United Nations in the maintenance of international peace and security.
It is one of the largest troop contributing countries with a history of deploying soldiers, medical personnel, and engineers to various peacekeeping missions worldwide. India has contributed approximately 275,000 troops to more than 49 peacekeeping missions so far. There is no doubt that India's growing influence and its ability to contribute to global development makes it a valuable asset to the UNSC. India has emerged as a global leader advocating for peace, development, and inclusivity. Its commitment to multilateralism, coupled with soft power initiatives, has earned it respect and admiration on the world stage. India's inclusion in the UNSC would strengthen its voice in representing the interests of the developing world. There are some key benefits of a permanent seat in the UNSC. A solid position as a global leader would allow India to shape international policies and decisions. As a permanent member, India could play a more decisive role in addressing regional and global security threats. India will have a greater leverage in negotiations and diplomatic relations with other countries. India could use its position to advocate for the interests of developing countries and promote global peace and justice. Despite its strong case, the road to reformation is rocky. China's position on India's permanent seat has always been ambiguous due to its strategic concerns about India's rise as a global power. It perceives India's inclusion in the UNSC as a potential counterbalance to its influence, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. India's relation with China has been strained after the Doklam standoff and cross-border tensions in Ladakh. China has also been actively supporting Pakistan on the Kashmir issue. Also, India supports Japan's bid for UNSC seat, which China opposes. The historic rivalry with Pakistan and the reluctance of current permanent members to share power all stand in India's way. Critics argue that India hasn't signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty or the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. India also faces competition from the other G4 members, Japan, Brazil, and Germany, for a permanent seat. The G4 nations was created in 2004 and has been promoting Security Council reforms. These are 4 countries that support each other's bid for a permanent seat on the UNSC. For India or any other country to get a permanent seat at the UNSC, amendments will have to be made in the UN Charter, which requires 2/3 vote of general members and the support of 5 permanent members. This would be difficult at first because the present 5 permanent countries wouldn't want to disturb the balance of power by including India or any other country as a permanent member. This will also open the floodgates and legitimize the bid of other countries like Japan, Germany, Brazil, and Ukraine. The Coffee Club, an informal group of mid-sized countries including Italy, Mexico, Egypt, has also shown strong opposition against India getting a permanent seat in the UNSC. Additionally, the geopolitical dynamics, historical rivalries, and socio-economic indicators like the Human Development Index have created obstacles for India's bid. India's quest for a permanent seat on the UNSC is a matter of global significance. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome will shape our world for generations to come. What do you think? Should India get a permanent seat? Is it time to reform the UNSC? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe our channel, The United Indian, for more in-depth discussions at global politics, economy, and power. Thank you, everyone.